And now to Carol Marin and an inside look at the Chicago mob. Carol.
Phil, thank you. A single letter to the FBI ignited an investigation that may go down as the most momentous in organized crime history. The author of that mutinous letter was the son of ruthless killer the outfit's Frank Calabrese Sr. Operation Family Secrets, as it was called, reopened 18 old, cold mob murders and put away Frank Calabrese Sr., Jimmy Marcello, and Joey the Clown Lombardo for life. In his new book, Operation Family Secrets, How a Mobster's Son and the FBI Brought Down Chicago's Murderous Crime Family, Calabrese Jr. details life in the Chicago outfit and the dread that he felt of his own father. Frank Jr., doing time in the same prison as his dad, made the life-changing decision to wear a wire against him and work with the government. With us here tonight is Frank Calabrese Jr. Welcome to Chicago Tonight.
Thank you, Carol.
You know, you grow up in Elmwood Park in a kind of Sunday family dinner sort of world. At the same time, you've got this dad who, when he kills somebody, likes to slit their throat from ear to ear just for insurance. I mean, that kind of disconnect. How did you cope with it going back so many years?
When I was young, he didn't bring the street into the house, so I had no idea about any of this. He was a good person. He had a heart, he had a soul. We had fun. There was a house full of people all the time. He kept his business on the street. When he was young, growing up, he was a rough kid. He went out and he hustled to make money, whether it was legally or illegally, but we didn't know any of that. Started seeing it as we got a little older.
But like teenage years, right? You
Correct.
started seeing more of it?
Correct. And then, my father never came to me one day and says, hey, I want you to come to work for me one day. What are you thinking of doing with your life? Would you like to come and work with me in the outfit? And, why go to college? He didn't do that. He was grooming me. He was being a father, and somehow that course started going towards grooming me more and more to work with him. But I didn't know what he was doing at the time. I'm just a young kid thinking my father just wants me to do what a son should do for a father.
How old are you when you know exactly who he is?
Well, we started, a lot of kids, and I wasn't the only kid in Elmwood Park that had a father that was in the outfit. There was a lot of kids. It was pretty much an unspoken thing. And we had an idea that our fathers didn't work 9-to-5 jobs.
Did you wear it with pride? I mean, did it give you extra clout in school?
No, we didn't. Not in our neighborhood. We weren't taught like that. No, it was like, oh, wow. When Godfather came out when I was a teenager, I mean, we thought The Godfather was neat. We thought we understood it, but we really didn't understand it. We knew our fathers had something to do with that, but it wasn't our thing. It was sports. We had, we were like regular teenagers.
How afraid were you of him?
Oh, I feared him. I feared him all the way until the day I went in jail.
And you stopped fearing him at that point because?
I needed to change my life. I had reached the bottom. I didn't care no more when I got there. I was on drugs. I lost my family. I didn't have nothing. I had nothing to fear anymore. And so what I did, I decided that I wanted to change my life. And he was not going to stop me from changing it.
So you're in the same, unbelievably so, in the same prison with your dad.
Correct.
And you write this letter to Agent Bourgeois in 1998 and say, this is no game. I feel I have to help you keep this sick man locked up forever. I mean, is this the function of doing the right thing? Is it revenge? Is it a combination?
No. It's something that was 20 years in the making. I just didn't sit down one day and say, I'm having a hard time in jail. I'm a victim here. My father's a bad man. I'm a good guy. This ain't right. I'm going to set him up. I want to go out on the street and just have him locked up and get him out of my life so I can do what I want. Now, I spent 8 months with him, and we talked about how we were going to rekindle our relationship. We were going to be honest with each other. We were going to work this out, and I told him what I wanted to do. He wanted me to promise him to never do drugs again. And I did. I promised him that. To this day, I keep that promise. And I wanted him to work on our relationship. I wanted him, if he could, to step back from the outfit and start being a family man and quit taking chances. Do your time, go home, you have the money. He told me that's what he wanted to do. During that 8 months of working with him in prison to rekindle our relationship, I kept using things that he taught me against him. So I would ask him questions to answers I already knew. He taught me that. And I found out that he deceived me every time. He'd tell me he wasn't doing anything on the street. I find out from people on the street he was running things on the street. I found out, I confronted him with something that happened with my brother Kurt. My brother Kurt owned part of Tony and Tina's wedding.
Yeah.
And my brother didn't put his name on anything because he didn't want my father to know, because he was scared my father was going to try to take something from him. Well, my father did. He sent somebody there to extort my brother's partner, but not knowing that there was a camera for security in the hallway.
So your dad's in prison. He's extorting your brother out on the street?
Before prison
Before
he did
prison.
this.
Oh, sorry,
but
okay.
in prison, I'm confronting him with this. He doesn't know that this is all on a security camera.
Mm-hmm.
When the person came in, it was on the camera. When I confronted him with him, he told me, why has he got a camera there? And he told me that he sent the guy there to help him, but he was there to extort him.
You know, you did the most dangerous possible thing, wearing a wire in prison against your dad in a circumstance where no one could necessarily intervene to help you if he decided to beat you to death on the yard.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, though, I'm thinking the one person in your life who seemed to truly be a protector and a real dad was your Uncle Nick, who was part of your dad's crew too, right?
Yeah, my Uncle Nick was never trying to be my dad. My Uncle Nick was not my dad. Okay? My Uncle Nick needed prison just like me and my dad. You know, he did bad things too, and he knew it. He wanted to change.
Did a lot of killings for you.
Did a lot of killings. Okay, and that's why he's still in prison doing his time. My dad had this jealousy because he thought that my uncle was trying to do that, but he wasn't. He was just being an uncle. He had my back. At times when I was younger, my dad had my back, but it seemed like he didn't have my back anymore. He was more concerned about him all the time, him. And you know, if he decided that he wanted to stay and do what he was doing, as long as he would have let me go and let me lead my life the right way, I wouldn't have done this. But he didn't. He did not let me, he did not want to let me go. And when the tapes finally came out, on the tapes, he wants me not only to work with him, take over the crew. When I get out there, he's already want to kill one of the members in our crew that fell out of favor with him. He wants me to break another guy's legs with Ronnie. So
Ronnie Jarrett, right?
With Ronnie Jarrett. He's got plans for me.
So you either get loose of your father this way, or you never get loose of your father. Is that
Correct. Yeah. And if we get on the street, I mean, you know, you talked about what my father liked to do, and he was good at it. I mean, you know, if I have a confrontation with him, he's going to probably win.
In the book, and in subsequent interviews with a lot of media outlets, one of the things I looked for in the book but didn't find too much were the political names of, I mean, because the outfit in Chicago is sort of interwoven with politicians, with judges. In one of the interviews you did subsequently, you talked about your dad saying, get close to a state senator, Jimmy DeLeo. But there's no evidence that I've seen in the book or in some of those interviews that there were illegal connections that got done. Were there?
There were illegal connections. I didn't do any illegal connections with Jimmy DeLeo. What had happened was Ralph Peluso was falling out of favor.
And Ralph Peluso was?
He was somebody in our crew. He was the one that my father wanted killed, the first one my father wanted killed when we got out.
So do you have things, I mean, provable cases that you could name names of Chicago politicians and say, this guy did this and that guy did that?
I could name politicians. I can name people on the street. The problem is that's not what I did this for.
But, for instance, you worked in the water department, right?
Sewers, yes.
Sewers, okay.
It's not water,
That's
but
right.
at
Now
the
it's
time
right.
it
That's
was
right.
water.
Now it's okay. Now it's divorced. But so you don't get those jobs, or you didn't back then, without clout. Who gave you the job?
I got it through clout. But again, you know, there's a lot of people out there right now, and you know, we talk about how I'm not in witness protection, but if I started naming these names, I probably would have to go in witness protection. And again, getting back, you know, it was there. You got clout. We needed the politicians as much as the politicians need us. Okay, we helped them get in office, whether it's sending people out there to vote. They needed us just like we needed them. It worked arm in arm.
But you know, in a lot of the wards in Chicago, there are politicians who automatically know outfit people. It doesn't necessarily mean they're doing deals with them,
Exactly.
but they're part of the neighborhoods that those guys grew up with.
Correct.
Is that necessarily an indictment, or should we look at it as something that is a dangerous relationship?
You can't do guilt by association. If you've seen a politician that grew up in the same neighborhood as an outfit guy, they might have known each other. You're not going to see them hanging around together all the time, but you may see them saying hi or something. You can't automatically think that they're doing something illegal. But there is still stuff going on.
You know, life is short. Right after the trial, Mitch Mars, the legendary prosecutor who prosecuted, died suddenly and tragically at a young age of lung cancer. You have MS, right? And on top of that, you're not even you're hiding in plain sight. I mean, you're there, your name is your name. People know how to find you, they know where you're living now. Isn't that too great a risk to be taking?
Well, you know, up to this week, and that's one of the biggest questions, is that risk. Up to this week, I was kind of doing my own thing out west, and you know, I just want to make it clear that, you know, I'm not challenging anybody. Witness protection is not for me, but I'm not out here challenging people like, ha ha, you can't get me. Yeah, there's people out there, but I have to live my life to the fullest. And again, going back, if I'm not standing here naming names of people that are doing things. My thing was between me and my father. It opened up the door for a lot. I don't work for law enforcement. I don't get paid by law enforcement, so it's not my job to go out there and name these people. But they're out there.
And are they still out there? I mean,
I believe they are. I believe they are. And, you know, the people should, you know, they should open up their eyes because they're out there.
But what kind of deals, without naming names then, what kind of deals still go on between Chicago political figures and the outfit?
Well, being that I'm out of Chicago 11 years, but I mean, let's take the video poker machines. I mean, look at this. I mean, that is something that, I mean, that's like a lifeline for guys that still want to get in the business.
But the mob's connected to video poker right now when it's illegal, right? If
Correct.
It got
so
legal,
what's going to stop them from doing it if it's legal? It's going to be easier.
If there are controls, if there are certifications, you think it's still going to be a piece of cake for the outfit?
Well, Carol, we're not gonna. An outfit guy is not going to go and apply for a license. He's not going to go to his politician friend and say, put a license in my name. He's not going to go buy a bar, put the poker machines in his name. I mean, they're going to take precautions.
Is there a movie deal? I know that there are people interested in Hollywood. Movie guys like to buy books like this, and mob movies sell very well.
Right now, there's no movie deal. Haven't looked that far ahead.
But it's down the pike, right?
Well, if it's there, you know, definitely look at it.
There's always the question, too, about making money off the tragedy and sorrow of others, even your own in this case. But still, mob books make a lot of money. Is that in some way disrespectful of the victims?
I don't know.
Romanticizing the outfit? Does it romanticize, even if you don't intend to?
Well,
does it sort of Hollywoodize the outfit?
It does. In my book, if you read my book, I talk about the dark side of it. So I'm not glorifying it. I'm talking about what happens with a family when you take organized crime, or like my father didn't bring it in the home, or you take drugs like I did and bring it in the home. And I'm talking about what happens to your family when you do that. People that suffer around you.
Bill Jehota, who was a big government informant after he was a mobster, took down the Iraqi and Felice Street crew. And years ago, he said, when someone referred to him as a rat, that he hated that term, that he wasn't a rat. That same term is going to be and has been applied to you. How do you deal with it?
Well, we like to label people, and the two choices I had was stone-blooded, cold-blooded killer or rat. Okay, you know, I mean, I can't justify it, I can't defend it. It is what it is. All I can do is take the people close to me and the people that love me and see the kind of person I am since I came home from prison. And you make your decision, the people that know me.
In your book, you say that you still carry a picture of your dad in your wallet. Can you help us understand that?
Well, it's a picture of him smiling, and he, you know, I have a hard time for what I did. People want to know how you can do that. It wasn't easy. It was the hardest thing I ever did in my life. When I came home, and when I walked in that courtroom, I was prepared for a fight. Okay, but I wasn't.
This is a much younger, I don't know if we can get a shot.
and
It's
he's
a much
smiling.
younger shot of your dad than what he looked like in that courtroom that day.
The emotion that came over me, the emotion that comes over me every day of what I've done, I don't have the regrets. I just wish it could have been different. My father has multiple personalities. I had multiple personalities. You have to have multiple personalities to do what we did. Okay, I just wanted the father I had back that I was when I was a kid, the one that had my back, the one that loved me. I still love him. I know he still loves me. Probably pretty mad at what I've done. Who wouldn't be?
He was mad at you in court.
Yeah.
Frank Calabrese Jr., thank you for talking to us. It's a fascinating book, and it's a very quick read, so thanks a lot.
Thank you, Karen.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Again, Frank Calabrese Jr.'s book is called Operation Family Secrets: How a Mobster's Son and the FBI Brought Down Chicago's Murderous Crime Family. Chicago Tonight continues in a moment. Don't go away.